fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come this far, you understand.
Hi, welcome to Healing Outside the Box. My name is Rosemary Lachance, and I'm a Reiki energy healer and a spiritual development advisor.
And I'm Jayne Power, author, angel channeler, and owner of an organic hair salon. We are dedicated to providing you with food for thought information and answers to all modalities of alternative healing, spiritual development, and animal welfare, environmental concerns, and so much more, in the form of guest speakers who are experts in their field. We ask you to embrace the show with an open mind. We will give you our contact information at the end of the show. Enjoy the show.
Okay, this is our 104th show. 104 shows.
Not bad, Ms.
And we
Lachance.
have with us tonight Dr. Aviva Wertkin, ND. She earned her doctorate of naturopathic medicine at Southwest College of Naturopathic Medicine. She has conducted research at the National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine and at the National Institute of Mental Health in Bethesda, Maryland, resulting in several publications. Dr. Wertkin is also a 3-time recipient of the National Institutes of Health's prestigious Intramural Research Training Award. Whew, mouthful. Yeah. She has completed a residency in naturopathic family medicine and enjoys providing naturopathic care for all ages with all health concerns. She has a special interest in neuroendocrine and immune conditions, including hormone imbalances, chronic pain, and fatigue. Dr. Wertkin uses classical naturopathic therapies along with acupuncture in her practice and is mindful of the psycho-spiritual aspects of illness. Welcome.
Thank you
so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
So do you do acupuncture?
Yes.
Oh, cool. That's great.
Yeah,
I didn't
thank
know
you.
that.
It's true.
All right, so we're going to start out with the first question. Why are so many people concerned about cholesterol? Why?
Cholesterol is such a huge fear-based concern for so many people. I was going to ask you guys why you think people are so scared about it, but
I can tell you why.
Okay.
Because that's what all the doctors push and pharmaceutical companies push, and they scare you, the commercials and everything else. They scare you. Cholesterol, cholesterol, cholesterol. I have my own opinion on it, which I'll talk about later, but
Good.
Go ahead.
But that's absolutely right. And so I don't blame people for being scared about it, because so much is convincing them that cholesterol is this horrible thing and it has to be as low as possible, otherwise you might die.
Right.
The link is that cholesterol causes plaques in the arteries, leading to heart attacks and strokes and death. So that's the correlation that everyone's been fed that's not really true, to be honest.
Okay.
So when you look at cholesterol, the basic is your total cholesterol, your HDL, which is known as the good cholesterol, your LDL, the bad, and your triglycerides. What people were told, which this all came out of a large study called the Framingham study. I don't know if you've heard of it.
No.
There's a huge study done in Massachusetts that started in the late 40s. This is where a lot of the research initially came from, that a lot of this information is based on. And what they found were that people that were closer to having heart attacks and death had higher cholesterol, and they said the bad cholesterol, it's called the bad because it goes from the liver to the peripheral arteries, and they thought that that bad cholesterol caused the plaquing because they found cholesterol in the plaques. But that's not true at all. What happens is you have inflammation and damage to the lining of the arteries, and the LDL cholesterol goes there as part of a repair mechanism. And then you get white blood cells and other cells that are going to repair it. That's what starts to create the plaquing. And the plaquing, as it builds up, can harden and start to, over time, narrow the arteries.
All right, now what's the inflammation caused by?
That's a great question. That can be caused by so many things in this day and age. We've got environmental toxins, you know, everything, all the chemicals that are in our food, our air, our water. There was actually a study recently done in Sweden that showed that environmental pollutants are a greater cause of heart attacks and death because of its effect on the arteries more than cholesterol, which is huge. But that's just one factor.
Right.
You can also look at all the food allergies and food sensitivities, things that we're eating all the time that can set off an inflammatory cascade. You can look at nutritional deficiencies that people have that can cause inflammatory reactions. So there's a whole litany of things that, that can cause that inflammation and oxidative damage. So the cholesterol ends up being a symptom more than the actual problem.
Okay. Now, is this an inflammation that people can feel, like in your
Nope.
knees you have the inflammation?
No, however,
elbows or
some
whatever?
people will come in with other concerns that are more obvious inflammatory things. So I had a new patient the other day, and she came in with inflammatory bowel disease and tendinitis, and her cholesterol numbers were all really sky high. And so I could say, all right, well, this all comes down to the same underlying problems. There's obviously something setting off the inflammation and things that her body needs. For example, omega-3 fatty acids, or the essential fatty acids, are a natural anti-inflammatory. So just not having enough of that nutrient can also contribute to inflammation. In her case, there were other things as well. So it can show up in more obvious ways, but heart disease in many ways is known as a silent killer because you don't always have symptoms until people are pretty far gone. One of the symptoms is known as angina or chest pain that people can get. That's when the arteries are starting to narrow, and so when people are stressed or they're exercising, you're not getting quite enough blood flow and you get that constriction.
Okay.
But it's not cholesterol that's narrowing the blood vessels.
No,
Okay.
no, that's a
That's-
good distinction to
yeah.
make. Yep.
It's not. So it's what you said before.
Okay, so what is the connection between cholesterol and heart disease?
So that's kind of what I was alluding to a moment ago. So it's really a myth, the connection between the cholesterol and heart disease, particularly the total cholesterol. What I have found, so with heart disease, that's really an umbrella term for a number of conditions with the heart. Looking at cholesterol is just looking at one component. So when somebody comes in and their total cholesterol is really high, you want to look at, okay, well, is that too high for that person? And if so, what else is going on? So somebody who has a really high triglyceride levels or really high LDL levels, the bad cholesterol, that indicates to me there's something else going on that's causing the damage. It's not the cholesterol itself. That's part of the myth with the cholesterol and heart disease for people.
All right. So then, if people eat all that fatty fast food, hamburgers and all at the fast food restaurants, and deep fried this and hydrogenated oils and things like that, and will that contribute to heart disease? And if so, how does it?
Absolutely, it does, because you're getting all of that oxidized food, all the oxidized fats. Those fats definitely contribute to more fat in the body, to more inflammation, and exactly that kind of damage that I was talking to. That's different from healthy fats that belong in the body. The good healthy, your olive oil, your avocado, the nuts, those kinds of fats are very, very necessary and actually healthy for the heart.
So do the other ones cause the cholesterol to go up and then make a problem, or is it just that causes fat in the arteries?
It doesn't actually raise your total cholesterol.
Okay.
Our bodies make most cholesterol in our liver. Very little comes from the diet. It has more to do with the inflammation and oxidative damage from that food and that type of saturated fat that builds up.
Doesn't the brain need cholesterol?
It needs oxygen too.
Yeah,
yes,
it does.
yes, and it needs cholesterol.
That's what I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. Cholesterol has so many uses in the body, and people now think of cholesterol as, oh no, it's so bad because that's what they've been told, I have to get it so low.
Right.
But there are all these problems now from people having too low cholesterol. You need cholesterol to make your hormones, your estrogen, your progesterone, your testosterone, your vitamin D levels. You need cholesterol for your brain. It's a big part of our brain, and it makes the myelin sheath which coats all of our nerve cells. So it's extremely important for the nervous system. It helps with all of our tissue repair, with the skin. So cholesterol has so many uses. What else? You need cholesterol to help make bile in the liver and gallbladder, which helps break down fats. So you actually need it to help break down and digest those fats. So it's used in a lot of...
What are some of the problems that people are having because of
One
not
of the
enough
big ones,
cholesterol?
dementia and Alzheimer's.
Not enough
Really?
cholesterol.
Not enough cholesterol. You need it for your brain to function. Imagine that.
Huh.
I think that answered a question for a relative of mine who never eats anything. She wants to stay skinny, and she's in her 80s. And no one in the family has dementia or Alzheimer's. I'm going, why? Because usually I don't know. I find that usually people get it that have had it in their family. I don't know. I may be wrong, but that's what I usually find. But no one's had it, and yet her eating habits are like she won't eat anything with fat on it at all. So
Because she's concerned about gaining weight?
yeah,
Or
because she's concerned about gaining weight. At her
Right, which
age
is
and
so
everything.
funny because eating the healthy fats really actually helps people have a healthier weight. It's such a funny nutritional concept that people have,
Right.
that eating the healthy fat, and it really will affect your cognition and your ability to think.
Yeah.
It's really
Now, can you
extraordinary.
tell people some of the best fats to eat?
Some of the healthier ones that I mentioned, like the good olive oils, coconut oil is really good. You can also cook
Coconut oil is
with
delicious,
coconut
just
oil at
by the
higher
spoonful.
heats as opposed to olive oil.
Yeah.
You don't want to cook at higher heats. A lot of the nuts and seeds have healthy fats. Actually, even eating red meat, which a lot of people think of as an unhealthy fat, if you get the organic grass-fed meats, they're much lower in fats and higher in the lean protein that you want, which is really good, and it's not as inflammatory at all. The avocados, I think I mentioned, things like that. So you can do a lot of nuts and seeds, not, your over-the-counter peanut butter. That's not going to be a healthy fat
Right.
per se, but you could use almond butter or eating raw almonds, walnuts, things like that.
Well, pure peanut butter.
Yeah.
They
that's
usually add
not-
oil to it. But the pure natural peanut butter, that's
Not so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on how much you eat.
Right. Really?
Hard to eat a serving size sometimes of peanut butter.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
tastes
And it
so
should
good.
be raw, too. Not
It should
the,
be or not have
the
the added
roasted.
sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without the sugar, yeah.
So while we're on the topic of diet, I want to mention something because this is a biggie I see all the time where people are afraid to eat eggs because of the effect that they think that eggs will raise cholesterol. Eating
eats
dietary
them all the
sources of
time.
cholesterol has no effect on your blood levels of cholesterol. So you can eat eggs and not worry about it. You can eat the yolk and not worry about it.
I eat eggs every day. I've been eating them for, 30 years. Every single day I have an egg.
Yeah, and it's good for you. It's a really good, unless you have a sensitivity to eggs or an allergy
Right.
to eggs, they're a really good source of protein and healthy fat for the
Right.
body.
They have sulfur in them. Yeah, there are a lot of good things in it.
Good. I feel much better as a
Yeah.
mother. 'Cause
Being a-
my son eats an egg every day.
Yeah, me too.
It's so good.
That I think that nonsense was made up by the cereal people. And cereal is nothing more than ground up wheat and grains and then pasted back together in a flake that looks like something. There's no nutrition in
Not
it.
all cereals,
Right.
though.
Well, I think shredded wheat and grape nuts are two of the best cereals. They have something. But all the cereals out there are just...
Yeah, it really
I like the
depends on the
Kashis.
sugar
Kashis
content.
are good. Oh, yeah.
And the
Kashis,
fiber
granolas.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some whole grains are good. Do you have any idea what foods might cause cholesterol to go up, aside from the fast food that you mentioned?
No.
Do you?
Cheese.
I love
It's the
cheese.
refined carbohydrates. So the
Refined,
simple
like white-
carbs. So
white-
when somebody's
So
eating
sugars,
yep,
White
there's
sugar.
cornflakes, the sugar,
White
white
sugar,
bread,
white
things
bread,
like that,
white
that
rice.
actually will affect the cholesterol because your body has to break down those carbs into sugar. And when you eat sugar, it has to get into the cells. To do that, your body makes more insulin. The insulin, which stores everything then as fat and stores it in the cells, triggers the liver to make more cholesterol. So it's really those foods, not the fats, not the healthy fats, that affect cholesterol. It's really kind of the opposite of what you might think rationally. And again, that's what everyone's been told for decades, to eat more carbohydrates and stay away from the fats,
Right.
and avoid those foods that really are more health beneficial.
Well, we're allergic to wheat. You still allergic to wheat?
Mhm.
So we don't eat the white breads, right?
Yes.
We eat the
Nope.
whole grains bread, the other kinds of grains, which
Like
is
the
actually good for us.
quinoa,
Yeah.
Yep, it's a high protein.
The
brown
oat breads,
rice,
the
yep.
rice breads, the different, So that's
Yeah.
actually better for us in the long run, isn't it?
And if you're going to eat something like the rice bread, then you want to add some kind of healthy fat to it, like an almond butter or something
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
or the egg, because that will also help slow the release of sugar and then insulin in the body.
Right.
So that helps.
I have a friend who is very, very thin. She also never wanted to be heavy. Okay, I think as a child she was, so she has that phobia. So she didn't eat any fat at all. I mean, nothing. Everything is egg whites only and was it cottage cheese that she would warm up to make it stringy and eat that, and anything, no cholesterol, no fats. Her cholesterol is sky high. She's like 98 pounds, and that's it. And her cholesterol is sky high. Now, how can that be?
Because the cholesterol is not coming from the fat in her diet.
Right.
And her body is probably trying to compensate, so it's making more to make up for the lack of fat in her body. Your body will always try. So if you have a patient who has MS, multiple sclerosis, they have damage to the lining of their nerves, basically. The body will make more cholesterol as an attempt to correct that deficiency. Now that person then will typically go on a medication to further lower the cholesterol, but it's an adaptation for the body. So that's probably why her levels are going sky high, even though she's skinny and you wouldn't expect that. Her body's trying to compensate for that starvation mode.
And she's got osteoporosis. She's got the other one too, with the bone.
Arthritis or?
Yeah, but
Osteopenia or
no, it's osteoporosis, and she knows them all. I can't think of the name of them, but it's like her
What, like arthritis?
well, no, it's another bone thing. I can't remember it. Her rib cage is pressing down into her stomach because she's getting bent
with
over.
scoliosis?
Scoliosis. That's it. Yeah.
Oh, poor thing.
All these diseases of the bone because no fats at all.
Yeah, and no nutrition. And has she been depressed a lot?
Oh yeah.
Because
Yeah,
that can.
yeah.
That's actually one of the studies I did when I was at the National Institutes of Health, was looking at the connection between depression and osteoporosis, especially in younger women, but at any age. And one of the correlations we found among many was the effect of depression rising cortisol levels. And if you have sustained high cortisol, it lowers your bone density. And then you take that on top of all of the nutritional deficiencies that she has, it's no wonder she's a mess.
Yeah, she's 70. So
Wow.
and she's she's had hip replacement, and then it came out because when she went to turn after she's had it for like 10 years, because her muscles were so soft, there was nothing to hold it in anymore. She had to build her muscles, and they gave her stuff to eat, stuff to drink, to put weight on and all that. But the minute she left the hospital and all that, she went right back to what she...
Oh, yeah, you gotta fix that.
You can't...
You reminded me of something else, though, that I really wanted to mention, so I'm glad you said that. A lot of people can have really high cholesterol levels and not have heart disease. And we've seen that with people where we test their blood and you go, wow, your total cholesterol is 350, oh my gosh. And so we'll send them for an angiogram so you can actually take a look inside the vessels and check for the plaquing and the atherosclerosis, and they're crystal clear, they're fine. They don't have that. And now they've done all further research, not only in this country, but around the world, where they actually study cadavers and they look at, they have checked their blood levels before they passed, and they checked their arteries, and they found no correlation between people who died of heart attacks and heart disease and total cholesterol levels, which is the opposite again of what people have been told for so long. The other evidence of that lack of correlation is that we've been on cholesterol lowering drugs for decades in this country, and heart disease is still the #1 killer.
Right.
So if cholesterol was really the culprit, then heart disease rates would have declined.
Exactly. I had an aunt who had a cholesterol of 350, 360 most of her life. She never had a heart attack. She never had problems with her heart. That's not what killed her.
No, something else.
Yeah.
And in
Cancer.
fact, what they found is that in men and women over 60, a higher total cholesterol is more health protective than health detrimental. They look at the elevated levels of triglycerides as being more of a problem in men between the ages of 30 and 50. And then after that, higher levels are better.
Wow.
And when they put people on cholesterol-lowering medications, it does not reduce the risk of death from heart. It can reduce the risk of a second heart attack in someone who's already had one, but not the risk of death. And those who continue to lower them have an increased risk of death.
And aren't these cholesterol-lowering drugs bad for the liver?
They're bad for the liver.
Yeah.
They lower your B vitamins. They lower your CoQ10. So that in turn further damages the heart. Then people feel more tired. They get joint pain. And they're now also found to cause diabetes.
Wow.
I have a couple friends that they take Lipitor and then they'll eat a stick of butter.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, what's the point?
You know, I think one thing I will sometimes say to people is if you really don't want to change your diet and you want to keep eating a crappy diet and you don't want to have to exercise and you're in that certain age range, go ahead and take a cholesterol-lowering medication. That's exactly what the doctors want. They want
Right.
people to be lazy and compliant and just take a pill and not take any responsibility. But that is not the same as being healthy. That might help control one symptom, and they go, well, you didn't die of heart disease, you just died of something else. But the cardiologist gets to go, well, I did my job.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but that really people have forgotten that that's not what health really is, and that's not what prevention really is. You know, so then other people go, well, okay, you know what, I really don't want to have heart disease, or I have this risk in my family. What can I do to be healthy? And that's where naturopathic doctors can really shine. Because you can just modify the diet. And it's not that you can't ever have butter, but you're not going to sit down every night and have a stick of butter.
So, okay, so what will the butter do then?
I don't even know how bad the butter really is. I
We're
think if
talking
it's
it doesn't
organic.
happen, you know, it doesn't make the
Just
cholesterol
a
higher.
little sliver of butter.
Yeah, I really think it's fine, especially if it's organic.
Well, it's better
Truly.
than margarine, though. It's
Yeah,
better than most
yeah,
margarines.
margarine is far worse. Far worse.
Margarine's all soybean oil. I do have a margarine that I get. It's a Earth Source.
Oh, the
and
Earth Balance.
Earth Balance.
Yep,
Balance,
and that's
yeah.
olive oil based. and
Mine
that's-
is palm oil based.
Yeah.
It's great because I'm allergic to soy.
Yes.
And it's great, and I love it. You know,
Yeah, I've
I even
seen
like
those
it
as
better
soy
than
free.
butter. Yeah.
Yeah, and
but
it's good for you.
If you're going to have butter, get organic. But butter itself is not going to raise that cholesterol again, right?
No.
So
No, it's not. It's just again if you're
Hallelujah.
overdoing it. Yeah.
it's just
That's
the
the-
fat that's no good for you know the weight.
Right. Right. Too much of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the fried fat.
That'll be
especially.
another show.
What's it? I was going to say, there was a doctor a very wise doctor that I went to before he moved to Florida, and he said, I said, what about cholesterol? He said, people make too much out of cholesterol. He was so smart. He did a little natural and allopathic and naturopathic medicine. He said, they make too much out of it. Don't even worry about it.
It's so true, and that's what I end up telling patients a lot of the time, unless there's really something of an issue. And I think it's going to take time for people to learn a new way of thinking about it, because that fear has been pushed at them for so long.
So long.
Yeah, and if you think about the bias there, this is not very politically correct of me to say, but I think it's okay to say on your show.
Yeah.
The expert people on the panel who made the guidelines for cholesterol were getting paid by the pharmaceutical industry.
Of course.
So it angers me to no end how the public is basically scammed. They're paying out of pocket for these medications, and they're paying with their health and their lives to help the people at the pharmaceutical industries just make more money. And the fear is so powerful for people.
It is
it
powerful.
is
So
'cause
even when I say to people, like, you're okay, they're like, but I'm still scared,
Right.
you know, or what will my other doctor say?
they're all scared.
They're all so scared. But it's just like this doctor that you're talking about. It really, people make so much more out of it than they need to. It's one small piece in a whole puzzle of things that you could look at, and even if something is a little bit off, it's not hard to correct,
Right.
at least from our perspective. But
Chuck-
most of the time, people really don't have to worry about it at all.
I know. Talking about what you said, what the pharmaceutical companies do, I read on the web where how they do the studies is pharmaceutical companies will pay some people to do a study on something. When they find one little thing that tells what they, you know, that there's a chance of something, they make them stop the study right there. And they take that and publish it. So you got like a piece of the truth, a teeny weeny itty piece of the truth that's not the truth at all. And that's what they do.
That happens a lot.
Yeah, they do
Yep.
everything they can to push their medicine. And we become a pill-taking society.
Right.
People don't want to do anything but take a pill and give me a pill and get well. I don't want to take this natural stuff. I don't want to eat the right thing. I don't want to exercise like you said. Just give me a
Well,
pill.
it's too much work.
Yeah.
It's too much work. Organic is too expensive. I mean, this is what I always hear.
You know, it's so funny, and I just saw somebody earlier today who came in, and she was having a number of issues, and I said, well, let's do some testing to find out what's going on. We did some testing, and I said, okay, well, based on our blood work and our testing, you are too low in some of these vitamins and minerals, and when we give them back, all of these things will be corrected. And she, well, how many pills do I have to take? You know,
Yeah.
and it was, so, you know, well, before I could just take this one pill and I was fine, except for all the side effects of the medication,
yeah,
which is
well,
why she stopped it.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, and it's like,
Right.
well, you don't have to take this forever, but this is wasn't this what you were looking for, to find out why this was happening? We give your body what it needs, and then you're okay. You know, and I think it's somehow in people's mind, it's so much work to take so many pills, but when you remember, it's just what belongs in your body, you know, and it's not forever.
Why is that work? I have a little vitamin case. I've been taking vitamins since the 70s when I first started reading about all the health things, and I went out and got all these vitamins. I've been taking them since the 70s.
But
It's
how
like,
do you know what vitamins to take, though? There are so many vitamins out there.
Well,
how
the
do you know the
basics.
good vitamin from the not so good?
I do the basics. I do the C and the beta carotene. You know.
No, but I mean vitamin brands.
Well, I usually buy the name brands. I don't buy drugstore vitamins or supermarket vitamins. You know, I buy like Solgar and what's it, Twin Lab? They don't have so many, but Twin Lab is another good one. And the name brands, the good brands, in a health food store
Right,
or in the
right.
vitamin shop. If you get them there, you're going to get good stuff.
Right.
If you get them in the supermarket or the drugstores, no.
Yeah, I mean,
No.
it's almost like food in a sense. The quality of the supplements really matter. And so a lot of people think,
Right.
oh, I can just go to, Costco or CVS or Stop and
Right.
Shop and get a vitamin. But what, my associate Dr. Sensenig will say is, you know what, throw away the bottle and eat the cardboard box it came in because you'll get more nutrition from that.
Well,
That's
You
true.
know, because it really doesn't seem to work. And I've tracked people to see, okay, well, keep taking it because you want to, because it's cheaper. Your levels don't go up. You
Yeah.
might as well pay the extra $5 to get something that's really going to work for you. So if you go to a health food store, you're more likely to get a good quality. I know a lot of things are available online as well,
Yes, that's another way.
which helps.
They don't disperse well in your body. They just go right through you.
Mhm.
Some I've read where half of the pill still intact came out.
And I've seen that too in
Yeah.
x-rays of people where they have like a big tablet just sitting in it'll show up in
Really?
the imaging because their body's not breaking it down.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's
so
why
the quality
that's not
really
a good,
matters. And
good place to get the vitamins.
it's true. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people don't know that there's a difference. But it really does make a difference.
all right, should we talk a little about that red rice?
Red
What is
yeast
it?
rice.
Yeah, I have a
Yeah.
couple clients that take that for their cholesterol.
And it will work to lower cholesterol for a lot of people, but it's just like taking a statin. It works the same way.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So the statin drugs, they basically work on an enzyme in the liver to trick the body to stop making cholesterol and LDL. Red yeast rice does the same thing. It's just natural. It's a more natural version. It's a supplement. So that's where the integrative model really comes in, where someone says, I want it to do what a drug does, but I want it to not be a drug.
Right.
That's where red yeast rice kicks in. So a lot of natural doctors will recommend that. I personally
For
don't.
the people that want to take a pill.
Yeah, people who want to just take a pill.
Right.
But it doesn't get to the underlying problem. So if there is a problem, because some people say, oh, my cholesterol's 203 and my doctor says it has to be under 200 and the lower the better. So they go on that. 203 is really no big deal as far as I'm concerned. But
I
again,
had a friend, it was 250, and they were ready to send him to the hospital. Oh, we got to get this
Mine's
down. Oh, my
always
God.
around 200 or something like that. You know.
right. And there
Minus.
could be a reason. Sometimes people who just have a low thyroid function will have elevated cholesterol. So you always want to look to see, well, if it's getting too high, what's happening? Why is the body doing that? If a woman's going through menopause or a man's going through andropause, those levels are going to go up. Because again, that's how your body's going to try to make more hormone levels. So there's a reason. So I'll say, relax. It's okay. You're not going to have a heart attack or a stroke. You're not going to,
It's just a natural part like menopause.
Yes, and if
Just-
there's something that's really out of balance, we can fix it, right? Just look at it as another symptom. You don't just want to shut it off. You want to listen. It's an alarm, basically. Does
Okay.
that make sense?
And I had heard that with statins, you can never stop using them once you start.
That's what they say, that there's a lot of risk involved if you try to stop it. But I have seen a number of patients who want to get off, so we find ways to very safely wean them off and just track their levels, and people are okay.
People are okay.
Yeah,
Right.
people are okay. And I'd rather safely wean somebody off than keep them on it because of all the harmful side effects that go along with it.
All right. Well, okay, that sounds like a natural thing. So maybe you can tell our audience what it is actually. What is red yeast rice? Is it just what it says?
Yeah.
And why is it bad? What it?
It's not bad
It's a
in and of
natural-
itself. It's just that the mechanism that it's used for is just like the drug.
Really?
So it's
It's
still
like putting a little Band-Aid on.
yeah, it's still putting a Band-Aid on it, even though it's safer. And so I want to make that point because the naturopathic approach is to get to the underlying cause, to look at, is there something toxic to the body or is there something the body's lacking? And we want to correct that. Otherwise, you're using supplements just to suppress symptoms like a drug.
Okay, so that's only used for that. People don't eat that. They don't.
Not that I
'Cause
know
I've always
of.
wondered about that for so long. I knew a woman I used to take care of who used to have it all the time. She swore by it.
Yeah, because it will lower cholesterol just like the medications will.
Right.
But some people can also have the same side effects. There are people who can't tolerate statins, and then they can't tolerate the red yeast rice either. Creates the same side effects in people.
And a statin is?
A statin is a medication specifically designed to block the HMG-CoA reductase enzyme in the liver to halt your cholesterol production.
Oh boy, that's
So
not
it
good.
is a whole mouthful. But it basically just tricks the body to stop doing it, right? It's like when you have a migraine and you're in pain, you take something to stop the pain. Well, that's great because no one wants to suffer and be in pain, but why are you having the migraines?
Yeah.
My job is to
Right,
figure out why you have
right.
the migraines, not just give you a natural pain reliever. You know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we do that short term so you feel better, but that's not where you stop. You always want to correct the problem.
Yeah,
So we don't want to stop the body from producing cholesterol because it's good for us.
Right, yes, we need the cholesterol. And if there's a problem, if your triglycerides are too high or your LDL is too high, there's a reason, and we want to fix that. Maybe it's just the diet. Maybe it's lack of exercise. And by the way, what's rarely published and people know about is exercise is a much higher determinant of heart disease and death, more than cholesterol levels.
really?
So simply modifying how you eat and getting regular exercise is going to be more heart health beneficial for you than any of these other things that we're talking about, or stressing about your cholesterol levels. You know, and then you can look at, well,
Easy.
you know, what else does the body need? You know, if it's not those things, if those things are in line, there must be something else going on, and it's going to be showing up somewhere else in your body. Your body creates symptoms in a number of ways until you listen.
Right.
But that's, in the conventional model, each part of your body is separated, right? So you see a doctor for this part of your body and that part of your body, and then you get a drug for this and a drug for that and a drug
Right.
for the side effects, and no one's researched the interaction of all those medications. We're just walking around like lab rats, basically. Well, not us, but
Not us.
a lot of other people, unfortunately.
I know.
I know a lot of those.
I been having a problem with my leg, which is causing from something in the back, whatever. And I went to
You've been
orthopedics.
everywhere.
Orthopedics. And they said, I didn't go, my MD sent me to him, and he just said, go get some exercise. So I got exercise. I went, not exercise,
Physical
physical therapy. Didn't do anything, just made it worse. So I come back and he goes, I said, maybe I should do an MRI and see what's going on. He says, well, I can give you a, because I have, my knee hurts in the groin area. I can give you a shot in your knee, and if that helps, then we solve it. If it doesn't help, then I'll give you a shot in the groin. And if that doesn't help, I said, what?
That doesn't help. I'll just shoot you in the head.
Yeah, I said, why don't you?
Then you won't feel anything.
Yeah,
really.
And I can give you something for pain.
Oh my God.
But if you give me something for pain, I won't know if I'm getting better or not. And why do you want to go through all that? Why don't you just give me the MRI and see what's going on? I mean, I don't understand. I just, because I've always been a natural health person.
Right.
And I couldn't understand dealing with, them. It was just very tough for me. Well, I could do that. So he did it. And then he said, okay, well, it's not a hip problem. So go to the back man. Well, I can give you shots. So he did. And helped for a little bit for about a week or so, and then it went back. And so basically, they have no idea what's causing it. Then I went to a physiatrist, I'm saying it right, and he said, there's nothing on the MRI that I haven't seen on most people your age, nothing remarkable. You're not a candidate for surgery or anything like that. But what's wrong? All right, so I'll give you another shot. I'll give you an epidural. So I get that, and that helps for a little while and goes away. Nobody knows what it is. It's making me insane.
It's just all in your head,
And I'm still
Rosemary.
in pain.
Right.
Yeah, it's all in my head.
It's all in your head,
So
Rosemary.
this is so typical
Yeah.
for people, and the only solution really is to live on pain medication.
I do Advil all the time.
And then eventually, ultimately, maybe get surgery when it gets bad enough. I don't know why you didn't
Surgery
come
on
in to
what?
see one of us.
I know.
You
got to.
you think very naturopathically, except sometimes in these kinds of situations. But that's the whole typical pattern when you go to the orthopedist. They want to maybe get an x-ray, they're going to give you the cortisone shot, the pain meds, refer for PT, and then just cross your fingers and
Yeah.
hope you're better.
Yeah. See, one of the basic things is when I got insurance, when you're retired, they don't insure naturopathic doctors. That's the big problem, you know, and that's a problem with a lot of people who would go normally. We really need to get those laws changed.
That would
really,
be great.
really need
yeah.
to get the laws changed.
But I will say, in the meantime, at least for our practice, I think we're very reasonably priced. And then, especially if we help you, then all that time and money wasted on other things,
Exactly.
you know, you just get better.
I know.
Our treatments aren't designed to keep you coming back.
Right.
Our goal is
Right.
so that you don't have to come back. Even though then I miss people, but you know, you get attached to people
Yeah.
and you care about them, and you're like, well, I'll just come back and say hi sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But yeah.
But I mean, I mentioned that because it's a case for taking pills to cover it. Here's a pill,
Yep.
but it's not going
It's not
away.
fixing the cause of the pain.
Yeah, I want the problem. I want the cause. I want, you know, that's the kind of person I am. But it's frustrating.
Rob
It's
is
really,
going
really
through the
frustrating.
same thing. The guy who's writing the
still
book
has
with
it?
me. He's got the same exact scenario you've got.
And he's only in what, 40s?
He's in his mid-40s.
Yeah, and he's got the same problem.
He's going to every doctor, and they're doing the shots and crossing
Nobody
the
knows
finger.
what it is.
No.
See? Nobody knows what's causing it.
Well,
They
Amazing.
don't know what's causing
they say it's
it.
sciatica. They
Yeah,
say it's
well,
a
that's
bulging disc or
Yeah,
whatever.
that's the thing. But none of the discs are bulging into that effect, you know, that much to cause that. And evidently, it's the same thing with him. So,
Yeah, and meanwhile, they just keep giving him the oxycodone, and
see, I didn't want that.
and
yeah.
then they give him, or they tell him to take Advil or whatever,
Yeah.
anti-inflammatory, but that's making his blood pressure go up, so now they're saying that he needs blood pressure medication.
Right.
He's
And
not-
there's definitely a time and a place where you want to shut off the symptoms. I don't want anybody to suffer, you
Right.
know, and if you're in excruciating pain, go get the pain meds or something like that. There's a time and a place for physical therapy that can be incredibly helpful, but it's knowing when that's appropriate and when
Right.
it's not. And then knowing there are other options. It's not that or nothing. And a lot of people don't know there are other options, and there are things that are very safe and very effective, especially when it comes to low back pain and sciatic pain and things like that. It's just amazing. That's one of the things I love about what I do, is there's so much that we can treat that doesn't cause more problems. It actually just helps people get better.
Yeah, see, that's the main thing. When I first had your Dr. Sensitive before you went to work with him on the show, that's the thing. He always said that kind of thing. We cure the problem, not the symptoms. You know,
Yeah.
and that's what's so important. I know it. So, I mean, you say people come to you and they say, "Well, I don't want to take all these pills for this problem of cholesterol." Well, what did you come for? What do you want? You
Right.
think I'm going to be like a regular doctor? I don't understand that kind of
Yeah,
thinking,
and sometimes people don't need a lot of pills. I mean, I don't try to prescribe a lot if I
Right.
don't need to. We want to look at what's the least we can do, you know. And if the goal is to prevent heart attacks and strokes and death, then you want to be healthy. So here are the steps in place to help you be healthy. You know, and a lot of people now take baby aspirin,
Yeah.
for example, to
Right.
help thin the blood,
Oh,
because
yeah, Dr. Oz believes in it twice a day, right?
right. And when I studied biochemistry, in not a single pathway did I see aspirin in there. It's not in any of the pathways that help the body function. When you're looking at ATP or how you make this, I didn't see aspirin anywhere. So I would
where's
think
this
if our
all coming
body
from?
naturally needed that, it would be a component of what we're made of, right? And the aspirin's designed to help make the platelets in the blood less sticky, so you're less and thin it so you don't clot. Well, what if you're just low in essential fatty acids? Like I mentioned, the omega-3s, the
Right.
fish oil, that helps prevent the stickiness in the blood. That helps lower your LDL, raise your good cholesterol, lower your triglycerides. It's anti-inflammatory. It does all of those things innately, and it's essential. That's why they call it essential fatty acids. It's essential to the body. So I can't wrap my mind around why someone would take a baby aspirin versus essential fatty acids.
Right.
Now, if you don't know about essential fatty acids or what they can do,
Right, then a baby
then
aspirin.
take a baby aspirin.
Right.
Is it really good for you in the long run? Probably not. Is it as harmful as other things? Probably not. But once you know there's something else,
Right.
why would you take that?
So you can find out. You can just go online and find out what you should take, or come see a natural person like yourself after you find out what you need, and then get the right one from you. You're talking about fish oils. You're talking about
What
primrose
about,
oil,
what about flaxseed oil?
borage
I mean, if
oil,
you-
flaxseed oil.
All
Yeah.
of those are really
All these
good.
things,
Yep.
Are
You
they all
just-
pretty much this? Because I heard with fish oil you have to worry about it going bad.
You do. They can go rancid. You also want to make sure the source of fish oil is really pure, because It can have high levels of mercury and other toxins,
Right,
PCBs in the
right.
fish
Well,
oil.
you don't have that with
A
the
lot of people,
flaxseed.
yep, I tell them to refrigerate it so it doesn't go rancid. The fish oil is great because it gives you the active form, the pure EPA, DHA components that you want. Flax oil has to get converted to the active forms, and you need all of your B vitamins to do that. So a lot of times, also vegetarians prefer the flax over the fish oil and that kind of thing. But I always want to make sure people have adequate amounts of B vitamins so they can convert the flax oil appropriately. Otherwise, it can shunt to a more inflammatory pathway in the body.
Okay.
But as long as you have, that's again why we need all these nutrients. This is how our body operates and what it runs on. So as long as you have everything it needs, your body can correct itself and be very healthy.
Okay.
That's still, it is another source though of the omega-3s.
Now what about krill oil? I've heard that that's...
Yep.
I mean, isn't that a form of fish
Yep,
oil?
absolutely. Yep. It's
Okay.
all the rage these days for some reason. It's more expensive than other fish oil, but it does the exact same thing.
I took borage oil because
What did you call it?
Borage.
borage.
That's more of the
B-O-R-A-G-E.
omega-6 and 9. It's a different
never
type
heard
of
of it.
fatty acid,
Yeah.
also good for
Primrose
you.
I couldn't take. I don't know, it upset my stomach. And same with the fish oil. And flax is, it's like goes right through you. I couldn't do that
You
one.
can also do chia seeds or
Yeah.
hemp
Love chia
seeds.
seeds. I
Chia
do
seeds
Another
is
great source
same
of
thing.
goes right through.
That's good. You're detoxing.
Well, I don't need it. I
Yeah.
do it naturally. So I don't have not good problem in that department. But
Yeah.
no,
And you
Oh,
can
that's
also
good. Now the whole world-
You can do a blood test and check how much of the omega-3, 6, and 9 your body has to know how much you need to take.
yeah, right, exactly.
You know, so if you
I
really
know.
want to know.
So
Yeah.
chia seeds have the omega-3s then?
They do.
I take
You've been
chia-
taking 'em,
I do
yeah.
chia and flax every day. I mean, does that mean I still need...
Well, I don't
Fish
know. I don't
oil?
know anything else about your history to know.
Oh, okay. I juice every morning.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. It's so good for you.
It is good.
You know, and a lot of people ask, well, I've heard niacin helps with cholesterol. Should I take niacin? It's a B vitamin. If you're deficient in niacin, then you might need it to help your cholesterol. If not, it's not going to work.
Yeah, you just can't answer a pat answer for that. You need
Well,
to
they
be
said last
tested,
year that
right?
vitamins aren't good for you, remember?
Oh, right.
Oh.
Or they're dangerous
Yes,
or
they're very
ineffective.
dangerous.
They
They're-
can't decide if they're not effective or dangerous.
Yeah, exactly.
Constantly trying to do that. They're
It's so true.
That's
It's
another
so
thing with that
critical.
study I told you about. The pharmaceutical companies do that study, found a little thing. Oh, well, vitamin E is not good. See that little line right there? So now we can say it's no good. People don't understand it, and they don't believe it, and they don't check, and they don't, read between the lines.
It's true.
It's
There's
a
so
shame.
much money and power behind promoting the drugs and not promoting the vitamins and things that are quite healthy for people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's-
Because pharmaceuticals cost a lot more. A heck of a lot. I mean, if you don't have insurance, what are they? Hundreds and hundreds of dollars for, oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
And oh my gosh, it's a little bit of a tangent, but I had a patient the other day I wanted to refer to a walk-in clinic, and I called to give them a heads up to say, I'm Dr. Wertkin, I'm referring this patient over, and they said, well, what's her insurance? I said, oh, I don't know, actually. And they said, well, she can't come in unless she has insurance. I went, what? You're a walk-in clinic. And then I looked, and I looked through your chart and said, well, she has Medicare, actually. Oh, okay, you can tell us her name. And I couldn't believe it. I was so outraged. You won't see this person who needs your help because you wouldn't let her pay out of pocket. They didn't want anything to do with her until she had insurance.
Ugh.
So I was venting about that with my colleagues, and they said, oh, that's normal. That happens everywhere. And I think I forget. Because again, I'm in the bubble of my practice where I forget that
Right.
that controls everything for people.
Oh, yeah.
It's so disturbing. It is to me anyway.
Yeah.
So you send someone to a clinic? A
Mhm.
regular?
It's very rare for me to
Yeah.
do that. But the person was very, very acutely ill, kind of an
Okay.
emergency where I really wanted them to get a medication. And that doesn't happen.
away, yeah,
Yep.
like
Yeah, it's happened maybe once a year, if that. But like I said, there's a time and a place, and I will not hesitate to use that if someone needs it.
Right.
Most of the time they don't, but if they do, I'm really
When you
grateful.
need a quick fix, you need the medication.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm good for
So,
that.
like I always said, my dream was for allopathic doctors and naturopathic doctors and energy healers to work hand in hand to cure. Wouldn't that be a wonderful dream?
It really would.
Because you do need certain medicines, and you need doctors for broken bones, and you need certain things and operations. If we could just all work together.
Well, I think, yeah, it doesn't have to be a competition because we all do different things. So I agree. If we could work
Right.
together sharing that common goal,
Exactly.
it would be wonderful. And I think so much less stress for people because people get so
Exactly.
nervous. They're afraid to tell me if they saw a medical doctor. They're afraid to tell their medical doctor if they saw a naturopath. And
Right.
they don't want to hurt anyone's feelings or make anyone angry. And, you know, I just think, well, we're all here to help. So
Well,
you
the
have to find what you
pharmaceutical
need.
companies wouldn't like that. I
No.
mean, they send their drug reps in all the time. I've seen them. And they give them these drugs, and doctors don't have time to read everything about the drugs. They tell them it's good, you know, and to do it for this, so they prescribe it.
Yep.
You know, and they're busy, and they don't have time to do that. So the part of it is not their fault.
It's
you know?
true. I agree.
Yeah.
There's actually a great book called Overdosed America,
Mhm.
written by John Abramson. He's a medical doctor who used to be in practice in Cambridge. And he, like many doctors, was too busy to really read the research. And so you get the snapshots in the medical journals, which are all controlled by the pharmaceutical industry.
Right.
But he didn't know that. And so he would be prescribing these medications thinking he was really doing a good job until he started really looking at the evidence behind the evidence. And he realized that so much of, you know, when they do the citations at the end of the study, they were just being repeated, or they didn't actually support the claims in the studies at all. And he started doing more and more research and realized, I'm being duped. We're all being duped. We're all being conned basically by the information controlled by the drug industry. And he realized he wasn't actually helping people, and he closed his practice, and he wrote this book, and he's been lecturing, and his book is chock full of information about
Wow.
the real research that doctors don't get. And it's
Overdosed
America. It's a really
That's
good read. Yeah.
Good man.
Yeah,
Good
really
man.
a lot of integrity to kind of step up
Yes.
to do that, because there are doctors who really do want to help people, and they genuinely think they are,
Yeah.
because they don't know, and like you were saying, they don't have time necessarily to read it.
No, they don't. And they get wined and dined, and they get compensated for using that.
Yeah, it can be very seductive.
Yeah, very, very much. And then the pharmaceutical companies lobby a lot for what they want passed with bills, with this, with that. It's very, very tough. They're very, very strong, very powerful, and it's very hard to fight them, you know.
Yeah,
and it's
true.
so,
I know, I got a little nervous even bringing up things on the show, because there's a little bit of fear for me in talking about something so controversial. But then I realized, who cares? It's more, it's more important to get the information out there. I don't really think anyone's going to come after
well,
me.
that's why you're friends
I
with
think
Dr.
more and more
Sensitive.
information is getting out.
He doesn't care what he says. But the fact is that we're not making anything up.
Right.
These are facts that people can read. They go on I didn't make it up, certainly. I wouldn't have known.
There's lots
if
of
I didn't read it.
documentaries.
Yeah, lots of documentaries.
We've been watching them.
Yeah.
Yes, we have been.
Mhm.
And I've everything I've talked about, I've read on the web. I've read somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't make that. How could I make it up? I wouldn't know what to make up, you know? But I read this and I read that. Everything I've talked about is fact. So how can they get upset or sue or do anything like that? Because it's written up already.
Right.
Just reading
Well,
the...
that's kind of been the history, especially in medicine, but with any kind of thing that's different than what those main people in power want, they slowly disappear and the information gets suppressed. But now, in this day and age with all the technology, this information just keeps cropping up, and it's accessible to people. So it is
YouTube,
wonderful.
A lot of good stuff on,
A lot of good
YouTube.
stuff.
Yeah, there is.
And they're even talking about trying to shut that down, I heard.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There's just too much information on
But I
on
think now you
YouTube.
can even Google cholesterol myth or the truth about cholesterol,
Oh,
and you'll
yeah.
find a ton of information and all the research that supports it. There really is a lot of evidence about this being a misconception now that people can access, so they know I'm not just making it up to to secretly give them, I don't know, heart attacks or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so what about the people, like I have 3 brothers, they're all on cholesterol medication. They've been on it for years and years and years, and they keep wondering why I'm not on it. But how would they go about getting off of it, or can they ever get off of it?
They potentially could. They would have to come in for an appointment. They'd have to want to as well, because it would require making some changes of some sort, potentially,
And what would the
when
changes be?
people stop a cholesterol lowering medication, their numbers are going to initially go through the roof, because you've been stopping all production. You take that away, now production goes up. So you
Right.
expect that, and then we want to see the numbers come down. But I would want to look at the whole picture of what's going on in their health, so I can have a better sense of why their cholesterol was initially off. Is it because they just need to lose weight? Is it because of nutritional deficiencies? Is it a combination of things? So if they if they said, you know what, I really want to take an active role in my health, and I really want to be healthy and not have to stay on these medications and really help prevent disease, that it's pretty simple, really.
They probably would have to make change in diet and the exercise, like she said, the whole lifestyle. It's not just one thing.
Right.
Well, don't you think doctors kind of look, at somebody's family history? Like my grandmother had high blood pressure or high cholesterol, my father, and do they kind of go by that?
They'll look at that as other risk factors, because having high blood pressure is another risk factor for heart disease and a heart attack or a stroke. So you want to look at that all together. You know, and there's genetic testing you can do to look at certain markers to see if someone's more at risk for developing clots. You can do blood tests to see if there's more inflammation happening in the heart. So you can assess other risk factors as well to look at, because cholesterol, remember, is just one small component and more of an adaptation or symptom. So you can look at all of those things and go, okay, well, let's modify this so that, especially in people with a family history, then you really want to take an active role in helping to have a healthy cardiovascular system.
And that same thing with that aunt who had cholesterol up in the 300s all her life. She used to eat fat sandwiches, fat off the meat. I mean, she
What is a fat sandwich?
cut the fat off the meat and put it
gosh.
between 2 slices of bread and eat it.
Get out
I
of
mean,
here.
it's tasty, especially when you grill something or whatever, you know.
Wow.
I don't do that anymore, but, you know, it was tasty and everything, and that's what she loved. She loved that, and it never bothered her at all. It's all up here, too.
Fat sandwich.
She didn't cared. She never thought it did, and so she didn't give it a thought.
Oh, maybe she prayed on it before she ate it
Nah.
and changed the whole composition of
No.
it. You know?
No, she didn't worry about it.
No, she just didn't worry, and that's another thing. I
That's
think
a big thing.
positive thinking on that kind of thing. But it's very hard to live in this world and watch television and read the news and not be afraid.
Then don't watch television.
I don't.
Yeah.
But people do.
But people
yeah.
do. Yeah.
My mother used to tell me news about something, and I'd say, "Where'd you get that from?" "On the television." I said, "That's not true." She goes, "Oh, yes, it is. It was on television. They wouldn't put on television if it wasn't true." Really?
Yeah, try being a hairdresser.
Yeah.
I don't have to watch the news. I hear it from my clients
Oh, all the time.
all
right?
day long. Yeah.
And you probably hear people are stressed out now more than ever.
Yeah.
They're stressed about their health, they're stressed about their families, they're stressed about money, they're stressed about, they're stressed about their health. Oh my goodness. And stress, as many people know, is going to directly increase inflammation in the body. The stress will, while you're stressed out, constrict your blood vessels. So that's a huge other risk factor for heart attacks and strokes and death. But everyone's just so stressed out, and then they have to take medications to try to help counteract the stress.
All right. So what are the main things we can do to get rid of
Yeah, we've got about 5 minutes left,
inflammation?
so let's get to the
the
meat.
main things to get rid of inflammation.
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so relaxation.
So like meditation.
Meditation, finding something that works for you, because not everybody likes to meditate. But if you like painting, reading a book, taking a bath, taking a
Walking.
walk, yeah, whatever, doing yoga, tai chi, qigong, finding something that's really relaxing.
Okay.
As a basic, getting your essential 90 nutrients, this is a generalization with your nutrients, but you want your essential fatty acids, your omega-3s, and all of your vitamins and minerals. So you're giving your body all of those things to help modulate. Eating more of an anti-inflammatory diet for most people means avoiding all the white foods, your white flour, your white potatoes, your white sugar. Even if
Okay.
it's organic sugar, it's still sugar.
So just sugar. Get rid of sugar.
Sugar
period.
itself is very inflammatory
Okay.
and lowers your immune function for quite a bit. So just cutting out sugar, using a little bit of honey or a little bit of stevia, maybe a little bit of agave, all of that would help if you could replace that. I mean, we are a sweet tooth nation. I try to get people away from sweets anyway.
So hard.
But it's hard to completely avoid that. And, eating fruit for a lot of people can only go so far. And I get that. So that's why you can use some of these other things.
Now I thought stevia was about the only sugar that was, or sweetener that was.
Stevia is the
Agave.
best because, it doesn't raise your
But
blood
it's still
sugar at
sugar,
all.
though.
It's not a sugar at all. It's made from a plant.
Right, I know.
And
the
that's
agave.
very,
I
very
used- I
sweet.
used
The
agave.
stevia, I
Oh,
mean.
the stevia, yeah.
Yeah, you could literally, if you had the stevia plant, you could crush up the leaf and make it into a powder, and it's very, very sweet.
Stevia goes right through me.
Jeez. We're learning a lot about tonight about what goes right through you, Rosemary.
Oh,
boy.
funny. But that would definitely make a difference. Getting regular exercise, even if it's walking 20 to 40 minutes a few days a week, would be so wonderful. It will help you with your stress. It'll help with healthy weight. It'll help modulate inflammation. That would be a really wonderful
Well, that's
thing.
what I did. I went back to the gym, and I can't walk, but I'm working out on all the machines and doing all that stuff. I said, got to do something. Got to get the body in shape and keep it, you know, keep through the pain.
Yeah, well,
Gotta
be
do it.
careful of that too, because even if you're doing leg lifts, you can put extra strain on the low back.
Yeah,
so
well, I keep the weight down and just
do
reps.
Okay.
Yeah, the reps instead.
Good.
Yeah, no, can't do. I don't do heavy. That would be no. I know that.
Yeah.
Till they find out. Till they find out what's the problem, you know. But well, we'll
Yeah.
see what happens. We're going to have Dr. Sensenig back, and he's going to talk about cranial sacral, and that
Yes.
will be very interesting.
Getting
And
your
maybe
head
we're
on
gonna have
straight.
some demonstrations and see what happens. That'll be nice. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for inviting me to be
well,
on your
you're
show.
welcome. We
Thank
still
you.
got a few more minutes. Is there anything else that you'd want to leave the public with?
I think the
Last
take
words?
home is to really not stress about cholesterol. It's really not as harmful as people think it is. It's not this horrible culprit. The lower is not the better, like a lot of people are taught to think. You actually do need some cholesterol. You want to have healthy levels, not to freak out. Too low is more health detrimental than too high in a lot of cases.
People are like, whew.
Yeah, really, it's okay. I'm sure you have other things to worry about more than your cholesterol.
I know. That's all I hear from everyone all the time.
And people don't know each other's phone numbers, but they know their cholesterol levels.
Yeah.
Got it memorized.
You're absolutely
funny.
right. They do.
so funny.
And the good and the bad. They know those numbers
Yep,
too.
and it shows how concerned people are about their health, but then people just don't have the tools on how to translate that to actually what it means to be healthy or how to be healthy. You know, you just equate, well, the lower the better means I'm going to be healthy, and it really doesn't work that way. You know, it's just an antiquated idea.
You'll be healthy, but you'll have dementia, so you won't even know you're
Yeah, you
healthy.
won't even remember that you're
It
not
won't
healthy.
even matter.
I never paid much mind to any of that, you know, with the health and stuff. It came by itself, it'll go away by itself, that kind of thing, you know, till this. But then they told me when I heard about cholesterol and the HDLs and what is that? You know, well, why is that? You know, it's just like, oh, I just can't be bothered.
Yeah, people get so caught up in it. And it's important to have your heart checked out,
Yep.
you know, and have a healthy cardiovascular system. But again, there's so many other factors you could look at, like blood pressure, like inflammation. You can have other infections and other things that affect the heart, all of which can be treated quite safely and naturally.
Okay, well, it's time to say bye.
Bye.
So we want to thank you so much for being on the show. It
Oh,
was so
thank
interesting.
you.
I've been wanting
Thank
to do a
you.
show on cholesterol for so long because it's really out of sight. We're going to give your contact information. To contact Dr. Aviva Wertkin, phone number is 203-230-2200. And the website is www.naturalhealthct.com. And you'll be so glad you did. For information about this show or any of our past shows, and to find out when our shows will be playing in your area, or for any questions you may have, please email us at healoutsidethebox@yahoo.com or call Rosemary at 203-627-7966 or visit my website at www.rosemarylachance.com. I don't know why Jayne's information isn't there, but you tell him anyway, Jayne, how to get a hold of you.
You can get a hold of me, 860-510-2503, or my email address is janepower@hotmail.com.
There you go. There it is.
There I am.
You heard me. And okay, you don't have the website up. No, you have the Facebook page.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, and we're also on Facebook, so you can write there and you can see all the guests, their pictures, what shows they are on, and you can write to us on Facebook. Okay, the quote for tonight is, "The practice of altruism is the authentic way to live as a human being and is not just for religious people. As human beings, our purpose is to live meaningful lives, to develop a warm heart. A warm heart. There is meaning in being everyone's friend. The real source of peace amongst our families, friends, and neighbors is love and compassion." And that is from the Dalai Lama. Okay, well, thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time. Good night.
Have a nice night.
Good night.
Fill your thirst beside the river. Wash the journey from your hands. Feel the comfort flow inside you. Come